Here we are in key issue 4 dealing with trends in development. And as it says here, life's getting better, especially for the Indians and the Chinese. And you ask yourself, well, what does that look like? Well, let's look at the HDI change. So remember that this was formulated by the United Nations, and what it's supposed to do is take account for health and education and the standard of living. And what we see here is that both the rich and the poor countries have benefited from development. The poor countries have actually increased faster than the rich countries have, but the rich countries still live quite a bit better than the poor countries, as you can see between the gap between the red and the green line. In this graph we see the level of education, and you can see pretty much the same pattern as before. The rich countries get a lot more education than the poor countries do, but both of us have been increasing years of education. This is particularly important for a modern economy, because a modern economy relies on having skilled, trained workers. And you put the trained worker together with a piece of capital, and what you get is more productivity. And when you have more productivity, you have a better standard of living. And so that's the whole name of capitalism. You know, the root word for capitalism is capital, and in economics, capital means a piece of machinery. So we're way better off. It's how you compete. You ask yourself, well, what's your skill? And it's not like during the baby boomer days, when the baby boomers, the rest of the world had been bombed out. There was nobody else to compete with. So in my mind, the metaphor was all you had to do was get on the up escalator and hold your hand out, and something good was going to happen. But that's not true now, because particularly China and India, and we're talking about a couple of 100 million people. They have as much or more education, and usually more education than you and I do. And with the internet, they can just click a button and compete with us, whether we were next door or 10,000 miles away. So getting your labor force educated and trained so that they can do higher skill things is the way all developed rich countries are going. So the more education you can get, the better. This last graph deals with life expectancy, and look at the great news for the poor countries of the world. Look how fast they have increased their life expectancy. The rich countries are still better off. We still expect to live longer. We have better hygiene. We spend more money on health care. We spend more money on infrastructure. We spend more money on having clean water. You know, clean water kills a lot of people around the world. So when we open our tap and drink some water from it, you and I don't think twice about it. But if you were in most of the other countries in the world, you would probably not do that. It would make you sick, and etc. So this is the end of the chapter dealing with development. The good news is that you and I have been in a country that started the process early on, so our lifestyle is dramatically different from maybe 4 billion other people on the planet. So we are very lucky to be in this country. We have all this infrastructure that we inherited from the blood, sweat, and tears of our grandparents and great-grandparents, and so life has been good for us. And it's a question of what we're going to do with it, how we're going to improve ourselves. You know, I like the song from Michael Jackson, Look in the Mirror. You know, if you're going to make a change, the system in this country doesn't keep you down. The system in other countries does. But over here in this country, if you're willing to work hard, you can pretty much do what you want and pretty much make it to the big time. Thanks. Bye.